All right, we're on the air. It's Monday again, 9:43 p.m. So I tightened it up a little bit tonight, not but 3 minutes late. No technical difficulties. And of course, the phone starts ringing. Hang on, it's our own Sparky. Let me see what's going on. Hey, Sparky. I'm on right now. I'm on right now. People should be watching me talk to you. Well, might have been a little slow loading, but hold on, let me pop over and check. Yeah, okay. No, apparently not, because I came in slicker now. Shit. All right, goodbye. Well, that saved me from having to introduce Sparky, the esteemed owner of Control Line Stunt Forums, and that's who makes this show possible. Robert Storick is his real name, and we call him Sparky. And he should be on here in just a minute. He'll probably be our first video viewer. Jack Snavely beat him on. Yeah. Hey, hi, Jack. Good evening. Jack's usually waiting for us when we come on. Glad that he waits with great anticipation for the night's conversations. We've had a few good shows lately, and I hope it keeps up. And here comes Sparky right now, and he got in a little too. He got in a little too easy, so I better set up my cameraman controls. Y'all stand by while I click my buttons to disallow intruders. And there we go. All right. Everybody has to be approved to come in now, and you have to be a member of the Stunthangar Control Line forums in order to click the link to get in here. So let's get down to business. We're talking aeromodeling, and I see Sparky's high rollers in the foreground there. What's going on, Sparky? I see you're back in Ohio.
I'm rubbing tonight. Rubbing.
David Phelps dropped in. Hey, David. So what's up, Sparky?
I'm just rubbing my airplane out.
More elbow grease.
That's it.
Yeah. If I watch you rub that plane anymore, my elbow's gonna get sore.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what it takes if you want to get those 20 points on the front row.
Oh, we ain't getting to 20 points on this one, but it'll be up there.
Yeah. Every point you can get. All right. Well, as I was saying, Monday night, hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope some of you got some flying in. If you didn't, maybe you got some building in. It was too crappy to fly here. It was rainy and chilly. So if anybody had anything on the bench, come in and tell us about it. We know Sparky's been shining and rubbing up the high roller. So anybody that wants to tell us about what they've been doing. And David Phelps and I talked at length the other day. He's not too far from where I live, and we're going to get him down to Huntersville one of these days pretty soon, either to one of our meetings or to one of our contests. He's over on the YouTube side watching us right now. We got a little feedback chatter going in the background. Let me check and make sure it's not me, but I'm pretty sure I got everything closed. It should be closed, but I'm double checking. There's Stunthangar, and YouTube is muted, and YouTube is not running, so that obviously is just on the system server end. So usually it'll go away after a while. Sometimes it comes with a visitor, and sometimes it just comes by itself. Are you hearing that chatter in the background, Sparky?
No.
Okay, well, maybe I'm the only one hearing it. Maybe if I turn my microphone down a little bit, that could help.
Yeah, I don't have nothing open.
Yeah, I just turned my mic down a little bit. That didn't make any difference either. Oh well, we'll just do it. It'll probably clean up on its own. It usually does.
Can you tell me what's changed on my airplane?
Oh yeah, you got a big shell symbol on the tail now.
Right.
Yeah, let me present to all so everybody can see it that's watching. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
What'd you have before? A different dice?
No, it was an ace. It was a spade with some little dice and a girl laying on the dice. Just, it was too black.
Yeah, I like the shell. It's got a little more utilitarian look, like you're advertising your, your sponsors, your oil supplier, your gas supplier, whatever. And here comes Doran. Let me let Doran in to the house. Hang on, Doran. I got you momentarily. There we go. All right, Doran, you're in. Good
Hello
evening.
there.
How are you tonight?
Hello there, gentlemen.
Hello. We got feedback.
How's everything? How's everything down in Atlanta?
It rains badly.
It's been cold and rainy here in Columbia too. I guess you didn't get any flying time this weekend, did you?
I wanted to go Sunday. Sunday was a nice day, but my schedule is kind of full on Sunday. We had soccer games and all kinds of other stuff for the,
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Actually, we had blue sky here Sunday, but it was really breezy. All the leaves are starting to fall off the trees now. On breezy days, the ground's getting covered with yellow and red leaves from the maple trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful here too. I mean, it's like some of the trees have those red leaves, and they're just absolutely spectacular. They're just so beautiful.
Have you ever driven up along the Appalachian Trail in the for at all for one thing, but especially in the fall, if you ever get the chance, the Blue Ridge Parkway, that's what I'm trying to say. And that's a great mountain drive in the fall to just drive slow and look, and it's like the colors, every colors of crayons in the trees everywhere. It's gorgeous.
Oh, goodness, yeah, it's gorgeous. It's fantastic. I mean, here in Georgia, we have lots of trees, lots of forest everywhere around us, and the trees are having a wider spread in time from the point where they start to lose their leaves and they're gone. So there are times where it's just absolutely spectacular. Like you just look at it and just fantastic. Up north, the time frame it's a lot narrower because the weather comes in and all the trees all of a sudden lose their leaves.
I think it depends on how much moisture each area has had over the seasons too.
Rusty,
What'd you say, Sparky?
shut me off from presenting, or you just want to show?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I forgot and left you locked on like that. Let me undo that. There you go. Okay. Now everybody's back to normal. Sorry, sometimes I forget. I don't use that control much, but I've been using it more and more lately. So you got to get used to not forgetting about it. I do have my anti-intruder controls turned on tonight.
We got some feedback on your end.
Yeah, that's it. It's unintelligible feedback. I don't know what's causing it. I turned my microphone down to see if it would help, but it didn't. Let me do it again, and y'all tell me, is my microphone loud enough now for
Yeah.
you? Could you tell I turned it down?
Oh, it's about the same.
Yeah, I still hear some feedback. I'm not sure. I think it's my microphone. Not sure why it decided to suddenly start doing it, but so what you got on the workbench tonight, Dorian?
It's Twister for my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not like it, whatever, you know. But I'm not losing any sleep over it.
Hey, that's a great utility plane. You can take it out and fly it with a good, dependable motor. And of course, you're doing electric, I'm sure, anyway, aren't you?
Yes.
I think you told us that the other night. But yeah, Twister's a great utility plane. Like I say, you can just throw it in the car, kind of like a fishing rod you Georgia boys keep on the gun rack in the back window of your pickup truck. You know, you throw your Twister in case you're driving by a field and see a good place to fly.
Kind of like that, yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm just doing little work right now. Nothing exciting. I'm not even gonna spend too much time on the finish or something like that. I'm just gonna put monocoat on it or something like that, and just there you go. Get a little paint on the fuselage.
Yeah, on my utility planes like that, I like to monocoat the wings, but I still paint the fuselage and everything else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of what I have in mind. You know, paint the fuselage, and the rest is just keep it simple, as simple as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't like the bell crank on this kit because it's so flimsy and flexible. I'm afraid that the wires might cut through the. Um, I'm afraid the wire might cut through the through the thin plastic that's over there.
Yeah. The my Twister was a Walter Umlin kit, and it looks like he must have put a SIG bell crank in it because it's thick, heavy duty nylon plastic of some sort. But I put brass tubes through it anyway, and squared them off, and so they don't dig at it as I fly. That prevents any problem with that.
Yeah, gets the job done. So, if you want to take a look at this, this is how I installed the motor. I made this plate. It's like a G10 plate.
Yeah.
With all the screws. It has like a fork in here. I mean, you cannot see it, but just actually has. It goes like this in between the fuselage top and bottom.
Uh-huh.
And then what I did, you see that?
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I just played with some balsa wood. The grain direction, it's in this direction because that's where the pressure is.
Right.
And that's it.
Wow. Yeah, that's shaped pretty similar to my IC Twister. And that's a pretty sturdy looking firewall motor. Well, I shouldn't call it firewall motor mount you got there.
Yeah. And I modified something else to it. I just know how the landing gears are kind of weak, and they want to um, through the fuselage. And I made like, I'm not sure if you can see there. It's like an aluminum insert.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah.
So I just drilled through the aluminum insert. I made some chamfers over there to accept the wire close to size and stuff like that. So this is rock solid.
Normally,
sometimes
the engine barrel would go back that far, wouldn't it? because you cut the engine bearers short, didn't you? The maple squares for the engine bearers would normally go back that far, I think.
Yeah, they're much thinner right now. I mean, they're almost half the original size.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's about half. So what I did, I just put I glued the motor mounts to the balsa with full size, put it on a bandsaw, and I just cut this whole shape, the U shape.
Yeah.
On the bandsaw, and then I glue the backside on it. And after that, I just made this cutout for the motor. And
You're gonna have the battery on the outside?
Yeah. Just like this.
Yeah. And you've got about a 1/2 inch to slide back and forth for balancing, or
Yeah,
I mean, already got the balance calculated.
I have no clue where it's gonna be. What probably is gonna be over there. So, but on this side, the plan is to get the wires from the battery through a hole like this to this other side.
Yeah.
My batteries are gonna fill the wires in and battery down, kind of thing. And then from this side, on this side, I'm gonna have the ESC and the timer.
Yeah.
Over here, and the ESC feeds directly to the motor.
Nice.
Kind of like that. So the ESC is directly to the motor, feed it in. That's the general direction. So
that's pretty thick landing gear. Is that 1/8 or 3/32?
It's the stock 1/8 inch that came with the kit.
Yeah, pretty stiff stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just you can bend it back and stuff like that. So it's just good for training.
Yep.
That's the reason for which I chose it is I know you can fly the whole pattern, and especially if you trim it well, it's going to be quite a good. I mean, all the way up to intermediate, even some advanced competition.
Yeah, it's a good capable plane.
Yeah. So just to go out and have some fun without breaking the bank or something like that. I thought this would be great. And we hope that they may come with us and go and fly and whatever. We keep on dreaming.
Yeah.
Well, we keep. The only thing I'm gonna change a little bit on this plane is the look of the fuselage, because I'm not too much into the twistery looks.
That is one butt ugly fuselage. I agree. The canopy and the tail both could use some work. Mine actually has a turtle deck, sort of like Sparky's plane there, profile style, that runs from the rudder all the way to blend in with the canopy, and then turn down, and it looks pretty sharp like that. It doesn't have the big bulging canopy like the stock twister does.
Yes. I'm more partial to the Stargazer looks. Kind of looks.
Yeah.
I like those rudders and the fuselage, turtle decks and stuff like that. Kind of like what I did on my plane, and the Revolutions is very similar.
Right. Yeah.
I just like the look of it. So that's the only thing I'm gonna do different. Just the rest, the wing, it's all stock. The elevator, everything is gonna stay stock. The kit doesn't come with any hinges or something like this, so I need to figure something out. What am I gonna do with them?
I usually use the 5/8 inch Dubro pin hinges. So far, they've worked well for me.
Yeah, I still have some Kevlar material in here, so I'm thinking maybe some small slits right down the center line. Insert the Kevlar in there, glue it on, and then loosen it up after that when I'm done with everything, and that should work too. What is it?
Yeah, that's probably actually easier to do than pin hinges, because I go through all the trouble of slotting to fit the barrels in so that there's no gap. And so what you're talking about is even probably easier than that.
Yeah, because when I have my Kevlar, I'm not sure if I have a sample here. Let me look for it. I have no clue where I put it.
Dave Phelps says, hey, Mike Lonke asked Turn what planes with the purple elevator above him.
All right. So you see this?
Yeah. Let me click on you. Gotcha.
So this is Kevlar. The grain goes like this at 45 degrees in both directions. It's already impregnated with some epoxy, very little epoxy. Actually, this is the only time I use epoxy with some kind of alcohol in it. And this is just a prefabricated piece. When I do my molding, I just drop this over there in a mold when I do the closing, and that's how it works. So this is an example. This is an example of what would happen with a Kevlar if you didn't do that. It falls apart, right? So it's very hard to handle and stuff like that. But once you put some epoxy in it, it all holds its shape, and the grain stays in the right direction. So right now with this guy, it's very easy to slit it with a X-Acto knife or something like that. Cut a little piece of this and just insert it inside. Done deal. Gets the job done. Just no.
Have you got one good source for buying all of your Kevlar and composite materials like carbon? Say it again.
There's no such thing.
Oh, no such thing.
Several sources where I buy my stuff from. I get the unidirectional from a shop. I get the Kevlar from United States. I get the fiberglass from United States somewhere. The carbo weave or line, it's all made in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Europe somewhere. Textreme made from Germany. RNG is selling it. You might find some of it on eBay. Unidirectional comes from England, and of course everything kind of adds up, and yeah, in the end, price wise.
We got Mike Lunke asking you a question about what those planes are with the kind of purplish colored elevators right above your head on the shelf. Mike's one of our combat guys, so he spotted those right away.
That this is a DLG, a discus launch glider. It's a Woody. That's the wing and the elevator. So what you do is just grab it like this by the wingtip.
Yeah, and
you
just
spin with it and throw it to high heavens.
Yeah, or until your rotator cuff goes. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Our club president out at Fort Jackson was throwing one similar to that one time, but his was more of a toy than yours, though.
Here's a fuse of ELG.
Yeah.
We did a test with it. We grabbed it over here and put weight on the tail here. We went up 12 pounds of pressure in this direction. It did not break. And it weighs about 32 grams. How big is it? It's, I don't know.
Looks like, yeah. Looks like 30, 38 inches or so.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it was about 30 something. 40.
Yep.
It's about 40 inches long. And you can see it has built into it bearings for the wings. Yeah. Pretty lightweight. It's a one-piece fuselage. This is built with the inflation bladder technique. And what I'm doing, you go in one side of the mold, and you go from if this is your parting line, the mold looks like that, like a U shape, right? Mm-hmm. You go from the parting line to the parting line. On the other side of the mold, you go above the parting line to above the parting line, and you fold these corners inside with a string, you know. And when you close the two molds, cut the string out, you remove the string out, and this, it kind of goes like from inside like that, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So the string hole is like that, and it goes open, and you have a balloon inside. When you apply pressure to the balloon, it pushes everything against the mold sides. And also, what the secondary effect of it is that it squeezes the excess resin out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when we make these parts, we don't even worry about blotting the part out or taking the excess resin out of it at all. We just close the mold and fill up the balloon. And when you have close to 25, 28 pounds per square inch of pressure, then it will squeeze out the excess resin, and the excess resin is going to sneak out through the parting line into some chambers, and it just stays over there. And you have a little bit of flash, obviously, on a parting line, which is right here on the center side.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit on the back side. I'm not sure how well you can see that.
It's not well focused, but I can still see the parting line.
You see that?
Yes.
It's kind of a vertical parting line.
Yeah.
And you can also see probably, you see a little bit of flash around the nose. It's not finished. This is not the finished part. Anyway.
Man, it's really raining hard out there now.
Oh yeah, it is raining big time. It's been raining all day long, and it's been. We have actually have a flash flood warning in here. So, yeah.
I've been lucky. I hadn't had we've had a lot of rain this fall, but it's been in short enough doses to where my shop hasn't flooded. If it starts raining and keeps raining without allowing time for the ground to drain, then my shop floor will flood. And people that have known me for a few years remember I've had years where the shop did flood, and I had to get the shop vac and pick up about 14, 15 gallons of water off the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I hate that because I've always got blueprints hanging from a clothesline, or fuselages on the table, or something that I don't want soaking water up. But the only thing you can do is vacuum it up as fast as it comes in.
Yeah. I started over the weekend to do a little bit of testing on the new motor that I'm planning to use, and it looks fine. I made a little rig. Okay, can you see that?
Oh yeah. Let me click on you there. Yeah.
So what I have here, I have a meter that's going to show me how many amps I'm drawing, what's the voltage that comes from the battery, and tells me how much amp I'm drawing through the ESC, so I know how much I'm loading the how much load I put on the ESC, which is right here. And the motor, I'm testing different propellers at different RPMs, just checking out to see what's the maximum RPM I can get out of it, what's the maximum amps I'm drawing on the ground, which is maximum you will ever get, because once you get in the air, it's going to be less than that. And that's it. And this is like a servo tester right here. This guy is plugged into the ESC, and I'm using this to turn the RPMs up and down, stuff like that. I'm just connecting the battery here. That's all.
Is that one of the XR props you were showing us the other night, or is that an APC?
Yes.
That's the XR.
Yes, the real nice for a wood prop. The finish is beautiful. The pitch is beautiful. It checks out on the pitch gauge very nicely. So, and they're machine props, so I can really trust them to buy another one and be pretty close to what I got originally and not worry too much about it.
Yeah, that's right. That is what you were showing us the other night. And compared with the top flight's almost garbage comparatively. Take it out of the bag, and it was all over the place from tip to tip. And neither blade on the same prop was anything like the other blade. So, yeah, that's pretty poor on the top flight props.
Yeah. What they do, they keep a certain shape, and they just vary they change the exact shape over and hoping to hit and get it somewhere close. But if you look at the geometry of the whole blade, it's so thick across the whole section, it has no aerodynamics, no nothing on it. It's just crude at best.
Yeah.
That's why, that's why they are so inexpensive, as a matter of fact. XOR are CNC machined, and they're balanced, and they're nicely finished before they come to you, and they're ready to install and go and play with them. Not much to worry about over there. And the funny thing that happened when I was doing this is that my tabletop on which I clamped this on, and you can probably see it. This is like a 4 feet by 2 feet wood, about 3/4 stick, and this thing started to move.
Holy crap!
Oh, I was like, holy smoke!
That's got some thrust, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, and then some. Yeah, I think probably it had a little bit of vibration, and
that was helping it along. Every time it would hop up, it would move.
The motor was enough to just have it moving.
Oh, guys, it's my bedtime.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
Okay, Sparky.
Night.
Thanks for dropping in on us.
See ya.
Nice polishing there, Sparky.
Good night.
Yeah. Night.
Right, good night.
He put a new shell decal on his rudder. In case y'all weren't here when he first came in, asked me if I could see what was different about the plane, and I'm terrible at noticing things, but I picked that up right away. I noticed he had gotten rid of his I think he had a girl and some other and a spade, and he took it off and put the shell sticker on it. I like the shell. It looks more utilitarian, like it's your fuel or oil sponsor or something like that.
Ferrari shell, Porsche, some of those, Nissan, yeah.
Bardal, whatever.
The Petronas, Mercedes, they're all nice, nicely made. I was thinking about paint jobs in general, and how people make. You look at the plane, it has a nice paint job, or you look at the plane, it says, "This is kind of crap," or whatever, And I was thinking, how would I make a paint job to look nice on a plane? and I kind of came up with an idea that obviously you can get a piece of paper and kind of draw the side view of your plane on a fuselage and make whatever you want to make over there. And then what you want to do after that, you want to take that shape, whatever you put on a fuselage, flip it over and put it on the wings in the same proportions.
Mm-hmm.
So once you find it on the fuselage, you find it on the wings as well. And that gives the plane very nice balance. It's super easy to make. So just an idea.
I usually try to stay simple. Yeah, simple lines and color schemes.
Yeah.
But I usually end up making it up as I go. And I get lucky though, and usually come up with some decent looking planes. Here comes Steve Hines. Let me let the old boy in.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go, Steve. Good evening, Steve.
Hey, how's it going? Doris?
We're okay.
Good evening.
We're just getting in our groove here, talking about airplanes.
Yeah.
Looking at Dorian's twister and also some little hurling planes that he's got. I don't know what you call them, but you put them between two fingers and hurl them and fly them, free flight, or you can make it remote control or free flight, I guess.
Yeah, I know that there's contests indoor on them.
Mm-hmm.
And launch like that and see how long they'll stay up. And
I'd seen those
for over 35 seconds.
I'd seen those stabs up there over your head. I assumed it was combat planes up there. And then when our local combat guy came in and asked what they were, we finally found out. Dorian got them down and showed us. And it's interesting little planes.
yeah, Dan Banjak, he does indoor free flight. And I mean, you can't believe how cool some of them airplanes are and how long they can keep them flying.
Have you ever seen some of the micro free flight planes that they even turn the air conditioning off inside of the gymnasiums or wherever they're flying them, and they're made with little gossamer wings about almost like butterflies, and they've got piezoelectric ornithopter type wings and really interesting little stuff. It's a whole different aeromodeling type hobby from our stuff, but still interesting.
Oh yeah.
My son's
my rudder for my DLG.
Oh yeah.
This is a solid core molding. It has carbon wave 20 grams per square meter on the outside, so it's a carbon skin. It's a solid core foam wing inside that's CNC machined to the proper shape.
Oh, okay. That's
and
the elevator.
Yeah, and I have a Kevlar hinge in it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
And this whole thing weighs about 6.5 grams.
Wow.
And just to give you an idea, this is a palm of my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good size.
So you put up 2 palms of your hands like that together, and you still can't cover it all.
Yeah, so that's about what, 18 inches?
Look.
Oh,
I still cover it.
Yeah, it's going to be, how many inches wide is that? 15 inches maybe? That's a good size fab.
It's 10.5.
10.5?
10.5 overall. It's about 4.
Wow.
About 4 inches overall. So it does have a little bit of size to it, but just 6.5 grams.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For the size, for the weight, that's really good.
And I have a spring inside. It's spring loaded. See, the servo is kind of always in tension. And that's how you use a single wire to it, and that's it.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's your brother.
Listen, guys, it's raining hard enough to where my power could blip, and if it does, stick with it stay online for about 10 or 15 minutes. If I catch it soon enough, I can restart the whole show and it'll start recording back to YouTube. If I wait too long, it won't. But just giving you a heads up in case I go off. You know, give me a fair amount of time to get back and restart the show, and it should work.
Oh, okay.
So this is the horizontal. It's a full flying stabilizer.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a stabilator, yeah.
And it has like a plate that goes inside here with two that's bolted on. So the whole thing moves. This is 6.5 grams.
Wow. And that's for a free flight airplane or a glider?
Yeah, for the discus launch glider.
Oh, okay.
This is 13.5 overall length and 3-inch wide.
Now, I wonder if anybody on a control line, design a control line airplane, ever tried a flying stab like that, where the whole elevator moved instead of just, or the whole stab moved.
That's how the Satans are.
I don't see why not. I think it can be an asset because it's much more effective. Because whatever the wind stream is, if you put the elevator in that direction, it's going to be very effective versus having something like this in that direction.
Right. Yeah, because then it would be more of a lifting tail instead of because it's stall. You know, with the elevator coming up big, it kind of stalls the airplane. It has so much drag that way.
There's lots of control line planes that are like that, but they're combat planes. But I don't know about stunt ships. I don't think I've ever seen a stunt ship like that.
Yeah, I never have either. I wondered about that. The other thing, I guess Bob Hunt has made some Canard airplanes. And I was really thinking that with electric, a Canard airplane, they even have less drag. You can slow them down. You know.
What are you saying when you say Canard airplane with the elevator in the front?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah, it's worth a try. I mean, anything is worth a try. I think even if you make something out of a dollar store foam and hack something up and put it together and see if it works or not.
Yeah, Bob said that he
effective the Canard would be with the motor behind, because we use the prop wash to give a highly accelerated blast of air over the horizontal to make it effective. Once you go Canard, the prop wash is behind, unless you use a very forward CG plane with the motor still in the front. But that heavy motor, and you try to have the elevator immediately behind the motor, trying to lift that motor up, I don't see it how it would be more effective than what we do right now. But anything is worth a try. I mean, if we keep doing what we did until now, we still gonna get the same results.
Yeah.
You have to step outside of the comfort zone to find something new.
Yeah, Bob said that he built the one and it flew really well, but he never could duplicate it. He didn't know why the first one flew so good and the other ones didn't fly good.
When he made it, he put the motor in the back or in the front?
I don't know. I wish, hopefully he'll get on here again. I was going to ask him. I figured he put it in the back and used a pusher,
Okay.
on it, but I can't be 100% sure. I never asked him where he put the motor.
Yeah, I can see the motor in the back as being an asset in the way that you could easily balance the plane and change the sweep of the wings to get the CG and the center of pressure on the wings just right, and it should be good. I can also see the elevator flying clean air all the time.
Yeah.
That's disturbing the air that is going to the elevator.
And kind of the rudders also would be in clean air.
Yes, that too. And the wing is in clean air as well.
Yeah.
So I don't see why it wouldn't work. It's possible. Could be a great idea.
I always kind of wondered about that, you know, but I don't have the expertise. And he said he tried it. He said one day he wants to try it again, but he said he just couldn't replicate his first airplane. He said the first one flew good, so he thought it was like a test airplane, and he'd do another one and never could get it to fly well.
Yeah, yeah. When I did experimenting on this new plane I built right now, I just changed some small things. Like I just pick up the elevator a little bit higher, put a dihedral in it to get it in clean air. I thinned out the airfoil on the wing because I don't need a drag airfoil for electric anymore. And I thinned out the tips to get more of a elliptical lift distribution along the wing, so the lift is more concentrated towards the center of the fuselage, which makes it more stable in a wind. Should cut straight instead of doing this number on the lines.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know. I don't know in control line, but in RC they came with anhedral stabs to get it in clean air. But when there,
you put it in dirty air then.
Huh?
You put it in dirty air then. It's in dirty air because if the stab goes like this and the wing is in front of it, like it doesn't make much sense. But some of those planes have very long tails as well. And
yeah.
Also,
and they lowered it down, or they brought it. It was down and the wing was up. I don't know. It flew real well in super good air, but anytime that you had like 15-mile-an-hour crosswinds, it rolled the airplane. It push on that tail and roll that airplane, in or away from you. That was the problem. They went away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but that's about it. I don't see why would I do that. I don't see the benefit of it.
Yeah, I don't know what the thinking was. They said that it was, supposed to be with the big tails. It was down in clean air, and I don't know, but it didn't work good.
What they also probably did on those planes, they probably put one of these little wings above the canopy, just behind the canopy. And what that wing behind the canopy does, it takes the turbulence that comes from the propeller and stops it completely and creates a laminar airflow.
Are you talking about a Canard?
No, not a Canard. It's like it's a little wing on top of the canopy, just behind the canopy.
Yeah, you see that on all the new RC ships now.
Yeah. And they do that to clean up the turbulence that comes from the propeller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the air comes swirling in front of it, but as soon as it goes past it, the air just flows nice and straight. And because it flows nice and straight, then the rudder becomes a little bit more effective. That's what they are doing it for.
Okay.
What they read. But I don't see why it would not be a benefit for us as well, because now you clean up the whole air that goes towards the elevator now.
I guess you could call it a laminator.
With clean air with air that's cleaned up on top of it. I think there should be kind of something nice. And I was actually thinking about putting this guy on the behind the canopy on the top of my fuselage to see if I can get some results.
You know what? That would be fairly simple to do on a profile.
Yeah, that too.
For a test to see what it actually, because that's one thing about a profile anyway. With all that turbulence, you can watch them tails jiggle and roll. From the prop wash and everything. And you can probably visually see what that does on some profiles.
Yeah.
But I had this one profile. I mean, that tail wagged. I mean, it just flopped around, and I ended up having to stiffen up put plywood on the side of it back from the wing. That came back about 6 inches, and it stopped it. But you could see where it would just flex that tail. It wasn't strong enough to you know, from the, I guess, and it was an IC motor, so, you know, maybe with every time the piston went, it jarred it, the wind, whatever, but it just had that tail just to vibrate.
Yeah, I see. So yeah, those are a couple of things that we might want to think about. For now, from what I've seen as long as I've been flying this plane for now, it's a couple of things stand out. It tracks very nice, even though I have a bit on a aftish CG on it, and I think I can move. I'm gonna try in the next sessions to move the CG back a little bit at a time and see how far can I really go on it, and still hold it together, right?
Okay.
Yeah, how far back can you go and still be comfortable flying it?
Yeah. Well, it's the things like when CG goes back and you reach that neutral point, then the plane pitches so fast. It's just explosive. And it will still track, but wherever you leave it, it's going to stay in that position. If you leave it like this, it's just going to continue in that direction. You have to make it go in the direction that you want it to go. The same is true for any plane. If you fly RC gliders, some people like their RC gliders to be set very, very neutral. And you see them throwing the plane pitches up and just rocket. And they throw them 200, 250, 260 feet, and they have to put the plane back on level and fly them. And they look at the speed of the plane to know if they are on a glide slope or not. But if they put the nose down, it's going to gain speed. But nothing changes. It's like an arrow. It just exactly behaves like an arrow. And actually, not even an arrow. The arrow is just going to go down, but this one just goes straight as an arrow. And you can pull out and you can go level. You maintain the whole energy, the whole speed, and they just keep going straight.
Okay.
Now, the thing is like, if you get a forward CG, usually in normal flight, you have a little bit of up elevator to compensate for that, nosing attitude, right? So if you do a dive test, this is what they call a dive test. As you gain speed, the plane is going to start to pull out, right?
Yeah.
If the CG is neutral, the plane is just going to go right straight. And if the CG is after neutral, actually, as it increases in speed, it's going to tuck in. You will want to nose in. And that's how we can tell where the CG is located. And some people like it neutral. Some people like it in forward. Some people like it back. I'm not sure why, but sometimes, they still track with that aft CG just fine. I don't know how they do it.
Usually I trim mine so that when the engine shuts off, it maintains its flight direction rather than going nose up or nose down.
Yeah. The more forward, the more is going to want to pitch up a little bit. If you put the nose down. But, it's kind of hard to tell that in control line. You don't have much of distance to the ground anyways. I think, to me, my only telltale sign that I'm approaching my aft CG is that the plane starts to hunt. It becomes unstable.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm stable, I like to get the CG back. And one thing I've noticed from flying this plane so far is that even with a more CG, my deflection on the control surfaces, I'm probably in flight. On the ground, they go up to about 20 degrees. That's it. But in flight, I don't think I use more than 15. And they're very effective and they're not draggy at all. So when the plane turns the corner, it has so much energy retention that it just plows, turns, carves, and goes to the next corner. No issues whatsoever. And then you can hammer the next corner as hard as you can. And still nothing happens. It just goes like, bam, just changes and then goes. like and I think being able to do an FCG setup, it gives you this very little deflection that's necessary to turn the plane, and this very little deflection gives you little drag, which maintains high energy on an exit. It just turns and goes. You don't lose much speed. And I was even watching in the videos, and I was trying to look in the videos after the plane would corner. I couldn't see any slowing down on the plane at all. I mean, it just almost, it looked like in slow motion that it was, if you go frame by frame and you look at the distance between them, it was kind of constant everywhere. So after the corner was almost the same speed as when it entered. Obviously, it loses some. But the ability to get back up to speed so fast, and it's almost wicked in the air. And it still tracks nicely. It tracks nicely. I have some tracking issues inverted, but what I did one day, I took it from normal flight. I took the plane inverted immediately, and I flew it inverted. And then I did the whole pattern normally. And when I flew inverted, it was hunting a little bit. And I have some kinks in the line. So I know the lines, as soon as I put those 3 loops on them, they may wrap around and be a little bit more draggier. So I'm pretty sure that's where the problem is at right now. Otherwise, if I, after I do the wing over, if I do the wing over, I just carve it and just stays there nice and clean. Because I don't have any
wines in
the lines at the time. Yes.
If somebody got their TV or radio on?
I got my TV on in the other room.
Okay.
I'll go turn it down. I didn't know.
If somebody's watching it, that's okay. I was just curious because I keep watching children's voices and then women's voices. So I didn't know. I thought maybe perhaps we were getting co-channeling, like we used to in the shortwave and CB radio days. I hadn't even thought of the word co-channeling since those days.
So, how's your health?
It's okay. I'm just trying to be careful against falls and make it all the way until the 21st, which is the day before Thanksgiving and the day of my surgery. So if I can make it all the way there without catching a cold or injuring myself, I'll call my health pretty good. And I'm trying to eat as good as I can, good nutrition, stay healthy as I can, and that's about all I can do right now. I cannot walk without a walker, though. And today was a particularly painful day because those pins and screws that are backing out of my hip bone are now apparently making hamburger inside of my hip, and so that's not a fun feeling. But I'm just
that's not good. Yeah.
Still got my sense of humor most of the time. Sometimes it's not quite as sharp as it ought to be. When I get my health back, I hope I get my wit back. I've been a little dull for the duration of this thing, but I try to fake it, act like
you are good at faking it.
Smile and nod occasionally,
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I wish you the best, really.
I'll be all right. I've survived all kinds of stuff. I'll survive this.
Yeah, we'll come down there and fly with you there again.
Hey, there's people that are our friends that are worse off. Wally Haskett's watching us on YouTube tonight. I hadn't mentioned it, but he's recovering from back surgery, and he's over there on YouTube watching us tonight. And I've talked to him a little bit via keyboard. So, so everybody, give a shout out to Wally. I know all of you don't remember Wally because you hadn't been on since he was one of our live viewers, but he's a good member from way back in the first days of the show.
Yeah, he used to come on all the time, and I knew he had to have surgery and stuff. So
yeah,
maybe he'll get feeling better and get back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen Minnesota Mike tonight. He's always good entertainment. He sold his drag racing equipment. He sold his drag bikes and his car. In fact, that's what the car was named, Minnesota Mike, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the name he used on here. But he actually lived in California at the time.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm going to change this bell crank that's on this twister in a kit because it's just too squishy.
You said it didn't look strong enough. You thought it might wear through.
Yeah. You can grab it and do this with it.
Yeah, that's no good.
And it's like made out of some rubbery plastic or something like that. It has no rigidity to it whatsoever.
Now, well, that's the heart of the plane. You cannot have a weak bell crank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one other thing I'm going to do to this plane, I'm going to put an adjustable lead out guide on it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Just to get it. I was showing Rusty earlier how I made the nose.
Yeah, that's a good, strong looking mount. Let me click on that so that the YouTubers can see you.
So this plate is like this, but it goes all the way through.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And then I just added the balsa on the side just to give it some more reinforcement so it doesn't go in any direction like that.
Looks good.
Yeah. So now is the battery going to go completely through or just mount on the inside or?
Just on the inside.
Oh, okay.
I have a pocket over here. I'm thinking about some
you
slots.
You can use a 3-inch or a 4-inch bell crank.
That'll be on the outside, right?
Yeah. No, the plane is like this, right? So it's going to be on the outside, yes. So,
okay. Yeah, I've been putting mine on the inside.
The idea is to cut some little slots in here and put some of those Velcro. So I can from the outside on the side, going through the slot inside, going on kind of like this, like a back through the slot.
Yeah, that's how we do ours. I started putting my battery on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So centrifugal force holds it there and it doesn't pull on the Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had a couple of guys that thrown their batteries.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if their Velcro got weak or whatever, but then, the battery goes flinging off. So I started putting mine on the inside. That way centrifugal force, once you zip or Velcro it in.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about that. So anyways, I guess I need to.
But I've never had one come off, but I've seen them,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they had junk in them, dirt or whatever from putting them on or off so much.
I think it depends on the Velcro quality.
I think I was about to say you can get crappy Velcro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had one guy who threw the battery doing insides loops. He had a top load, and the Velcro let loose and how he landed that airplane because the battery went flying, unplugged itself, and so now it was so tail heavy.
Oh,
and he actually landed it. I couldn't believe it.
It makes for a fun flight after that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he was doing the insides, and luckily it came out when the airplane was at the top. So it must have, when he got up here, all of a sudden the battery goes flying, and he got it out. If it would have came out inverted, I don't know what he would have done then.
Uh-huh.
You know, lost the battery inverted, but at
Uh-huh.
least it threw it at just about the top of the loop. And yeah, he landed that vector and got it back to the ground. But it was like, holy cow.
That probably tells you how much more aft CG the Vector could probably handle.
Oh, really?
And was it flyable or just really kind of lucky day?
It kind of like fluttered. It was just all over. He was running back trying to keep line tension and all that kind of stuff, and it bent the landing gear a little bit, but that was it. But it just like plop finally came in.
Yeah, with most of the weight gone, it probably wouldn't have broken that much when it hit the ground, but still.
But what was crazy too is that like when it did that, it's like it lost all of its forward momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's because the lines went slack, you know, the propeller stopped, but usually, you know, the airplane will glide in for a landing, and this thing just kind of looked like a wounded duck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what happens in that moment, since obviously he had the very aft CG at that moment, so he was using a lot of control to hold it somewhat level, somewhat on a
Oh, yes.
path. Now you lose the weight and you have no more penetration to help you glide. The weight of the glider, it pulls it forward, right? So you lose that weight, you lose that forward pull. Think about the lines having about at least 20 to 30% of the total drag of the whole system, plane plus lines and stuff like that. So now you have this huge amount of offset of drag on the lines, lack of forward motion and stuff like that. Yes, I can imagine how excited how exciting this flight was.
Yeah, and I mean it didn't come down all that fast, but it only made like a quarter of a lap. It was just
Probably that's all you could get out of it.
But he said he was glad though, because he said he wouldn't have been able to keep line tension and run a circle to try to keep out on it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go that far, so it made it fairly easy for him to keep line tension. But he got it down and flew it again, but changed out the Velcro in it.
Good idea.
Yeah. See, that kind of gets me to the point of removing the nose. You know, kind of I think that was a good idea because I have 4 rails in the 4 corners, right?
Yeah.
Like L shape, like this. 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and the battery just slides right in between them. And they never come off. The battery cannot go anywhere in any directions, left, right, up, or down. You just cannot go.
Just got a flash flood warning.
Yeah, I've seen today this morning. I was watching the news, and they said that you guys were going to get a shitload of rain coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes, it's been raining here all day long.
Oh, shit.
It's even in Atlanta. I mean, it hasn't stopped raining all day today.
Holy cow.
It started kind of soft, but then after that, about 9 o'clock in the morning, it started raining. And it's been raining ever since. It never stopped.
Wow. Here it's just, I guess we're supposed to get snow and rain tomorrow. We're supposed to change the snow. I don't know. But I don't know. It's only been in the low 30s here for the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was on a roof today and I'm like, man, here, November, and I already got my winter clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
But changing out gloves. And
how far north are you, Steve?
Michigan.
Michigan. Oh,
we're about across from Green Bay, I think. Wisconsin is how far north I am in Michigan.
Yeah. I used to live in Rockford, Illinois, which is north of Illinois, and Wisconsin is at north of us. And you being at the same latitude with Wisconsin, then it's cold.
Yeah. But one thing is, Michigan has the most 32-degree days of any place in the nation because of Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, water freezes. As long as the water isn't frozen, wind blowing over it, it gets to be 32 degrees. It's always humid. We get a lot of lake effect snow, and it's always real wet snow. It's right at the freezing point. So it's heavy and wet, but so as long as it snows and it gets warm enough just to melt off the driveway and stuff like that, makes it nice. It's just when we get the ones that, you know, I kind of feel sorry for on the other side of the lake there, because if they do get the snow and stuff, it doesn't warm up then to, you know, to melt a lot of things. But a little bit of sunshine and 32 degrees and our stuff, you know, will melt off the ice, off the driveways and the roads and stuff.
Yeah. Who was making those videos of flying on the lake? I think Shug.
Oh yeah, Emery, yeah.
Shug Emery, yeah.
That was pretty cool. I think he lives in Minnesota.
Ah, yes, he does, yeah.
You know, that's where they do all that ice boat racing and stuff like that. You know, because I guess the winds there and stuff strip all the snow right off the ice, and you're down to bare ice. And yeah, I don't think I'd want to fly on it. That'd be way too cold out there. Nothing to block any wind or. But
so some things people do to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking to my buddy yesterday about ice fishing, you know, and he says he's just getting too old to get everything out there and stuff like that. And but I think a lot of it, the last time they went ice fishing, they were out there and the ice was cracking. He said it was like boom, boom, you know, and he said the ice would shake. And he's like, screw this. He's getting that. Everybody's laughing at him because he's like, I'm getting off the ice. I'm going back to shore, you know. So he packed his stuff up and went back to shore. And about a half an hour later, a big boom and a big piece of ice floated off with everybody where he was fishing with, floated them out into Lake Huron. And they had to get the Coast Guard and stuff to get them guys off that ice sheet that was floating. And he goes, yeah, I'm the chicken shit. I'm the dumb one. And you laughed at me. And now you guys are all floating in the middle of the lake. Yeah, they got them off, but all their snowmobiles and all that kind of stuff. Bye-bye. We take them off. But he said he went home with his snowmobile, his ice shanty, and all that kind of stuff. These other people lost everything.
Wow. I was watching this this thing about the ravens, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was ice fishing, and couldn't figure it out why he was not catching any fish. And when the guy was leaving, the raven was just watching over there. And when the raven saw something on the stick moving or something like that, it would come over and just grab with the fishing line and catch it with his leg and lift more and would steal the fish off the hook.
No kidding.
And run away with it.
I heard ravens are really smart.
They are super smart, and they live like 40 years or something like that. They live lives. They are the only bird that would fly towards a gunshot, because they know when hunters are killing something, they take the guts out to lighten up the animal, and they leave the guts over there and they live with it. But for them, the guts and stuff like that, that's the
part they want.
Cake.
Yeah.
That's part to them. That's the tastiest thing. They say, oh, yum, yum. You're going to leave me the good stuff over there. I'm going to go take it.
I believe bears do the same thing.
Bears, no. I don't think bears. I think raven is the only animal that actually goes towards a gunshot. Every other animal will run away from it.
I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know where,
Maybe, but why do they all, when the hunting season starts, why do they all migrate in that direction? Question. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a big deer around here that everybody was trying to get when I first moved in, and nobody could seem to find it. You know, and they said that it had a calendar that knew opening day of gun season. And it wouldn't hit. You'd see it all over, then it was just gone. And I mean, just gone. And I had this hunting dog, and if he ever smelled a deer, he'd come back, get up on his hind legs and look, get real tall. And we're out in the backyard, and he's doing that. And he ran up there and was like walking on his hind legs. All of a sudden, that buck came out of this little pond that I have here next to my house. Ain't much of a pond or anything. Goes down a few feet. But that's where it was hiding. But it ran at, I thought it was going to run me over. It ran right at me. If it wouldn't have been the dog on an angle and making the damn deer take a different trajectory to get away from the dog, I think that thing would have ran me right over. It lowered its head and it was coming right at me, like I did something wrong.
Hey Charles, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing well, everybody.
At least the fires ain't by you, huh?
Yeah, I believe I'm about an hour and a half away at the closest, I think. Maybe a little bit past an hour and a half, but you know, it's still nerve-wracking.
Burning up any trees, but it's going so fast. It's just burning grass and bush, you know, scrub bush or whatever, and them houses. And they were showing the houses all burn up, and all the trees around it still had the leaves on it, or you know, and it ain't hurting the trees. It's moving so fast.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not
terrible.
A few of the trees are a little, you know, scorched a little bit, but I mean, it ain't burning up the trees like last time. It's just all these houses.
Wow, it's terrible. It really is. I feel bad for the families who have been displaced, you know.
What I can't believe is that they're showing that one place where that one fire is, I think by San Francisco up that way, that one.
Okay.
That the flames were, or the fire was jumping 20 miles.
Wow. Well, that must have been some terrible winds. I know we had some winds here today. I couldn't even go on flying. By the time I got to the flying field, which was 8 o'clock, and I finally got around to fly, the winds was like, I don't know, 13.5-mile-an-hour winds. And I just didn't, I would just didn't want to take a chance.
It probably kept up, you know, kept coming higher the rest of the day. But yeah, I couldn't believe that it could keep an ember burning. How big of an ember it would have to be to start a fire 20 miles away.
Yeah, well, they're saying that some parts of California, winds are going to be 55 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I know today the forecast for where I live is going to get up to 30. I think by 2 o'clock or so, it's going to be 30-mile-an-hour wind. And
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I shouldn't complain about 33-degree air temperature. Everybody else is getting flooded out, burn out. You know.
Yeah, I was just telling myself, I was with my friend, and I go, well, we didn't get a chance to fly, but you know, at least our houses are not on fire. You know, so what can we complain? Couldn't fly our model airplanes, but it could be a lot worse. You know.
I couldn't believe it. It showed some of them houses they were hitting with fire retardant before they burned. Because it was going so fast, if the embers or whatever didn't start the house on fire, you know, they were just blasting the houses. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of smart.
Yeah, I think that is preventive, you know.
I'd hate to have to clean that shit up.
Well, actually, you'd like to have to clean it up as opposed to
I guess
losing everything.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you lose that you cannot replace? You know, it's like
pictures.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah,
and even those are on cloud nowadays.
Airplane molds.
Yeah, airplane molds.
You couldn't replace them very fast.
Program for that stored in your CAD programs in the cloud.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't get any more PA-75s or what other highly coveted engine we couldn't get.
Well, yeah, you know, he could do another mold, but can you imagine him even thinking about having to polish that damn thing out? He'd be like, shit.
Now I have to do it again. Snap.
We shouldn't be too far away from being able to store our DNA and digital files.
Yeah. Well, I figure you guys there, you know, kind of on the East Coast, going, you know, southern East Coast, maybe you should change over to RC boats. With as much rain as you guys
Hurricanes, yeah.
The storms.
I might need an inflatable boat to get to work tomorrow.
I'm going to step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
All right.
I left the building, my work building, to go to the car, and the car was maybe, let's say, 20 feet away. No more than that. Actually, it was less than that.
Right.
And I ran to the car. I grabbed something out of the car. I closed the car and ran back in. And by the time I was getting back in, I was just, oh my goodness. Was I wet or was I wet?
Wow.
I was like, holy smokes. And it's just this steady, heavy rain. But just steady. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, it's like, the girls calling in work, or dispatchers. It'll be raining like that, for hours. Well, we got this job, such and such a place. Like, well, tell them I'll be there tomorrow. They're like, what do you mean? They want it fixed today. I said, well, you really think I want to open an electrical panel on a piece of equipment in the rain? Got 480 going to it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Hey.
Yeah, we'll just let a little water get in there. That always helps the situation.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm really kind of surprised that, but I don't know how they'd stand up to the wind that somebody hasn't invented some kind of a little tent system that you could put up over, and work in a dry area on these things. Because there's just no opening them up to the rain. You'd be shorting out all kinds of stuff.
Maybe a nice big umbrella kind of thing.
Yeah, something that you could stick on the unit to tie it down, But usually when you get rain and stuff, you get wind. And I think, that's the problem because...
I say tent. Yeah, that makes sense.
Something that would be... You could put into the wind or something because it'd blow it all over the place.
If the wind is... If you are at high on a pole, probably the wind is pretty clean and steady in the same direction, is it or not?
Yeah, usually, when we're up about 2 stories, the wind is usually fairly clean.
Okay, so in that case, you can position if fairly clean, then the rain is going to go kind of in the same direction.
Yeah.
So if you position your umbrella correctly, you should be halfway decent, at least.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a big one. I mean, I'm talking about a big umbrella here. But I think that the challenge to that is being a big umbrella, you need to be lightweight. I mean, you're dragging it 20, 30 feet up in the air, right? So
I think it's 2 years ago, I was on a roof and I was like 2.5 stories up because the basement had partial windows sticking out of the ground. It was a school. And it just got done raining and everything. So I'm standing in water. And I was pulling the 24 volt off of a contactor to test stuff, putting it back on. Well, somehow when I went to put it back on, my fingers slid forward on the wire and I touched the connector. And I couldn't believe how bad 24 volts shock you when you're standing in water. Well, somehow in there, it must have jolted me so bad. I stuck these 2 fingers into the contactor, which was 480.
Oh, man.
Oh, even nicer.
Even nicer. So all of a sudden, I hear my telephone ringing in my pocket, and I answer the telephone, and the maintenance supervisor says, "Are you on the high school on the roof smoking a cigarette?" And I look down, and I'm like, "As a matter of fact, I am." He goes, "You know, you can't smoke on school property." And I said, "Yeah, I know that. I'll put it out, you know." But I was standing 1 foot from a 2.5 foot story down when I did that to myself. But I don't remember going to sit down on the edge of the roof. Just sat there. I fell up backwards, whatever, smoking a cigarette.
How did you get there?
I have no idea how I got there, when I lit the cigarette, anything.
Wow.
All I know is my arm hurt so bad, and I had 2 burn marks on the end of my fingers.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh. When I was little, I'm talking 16, 17, 18 or so, I used to take care of the electrical stuff around the house back in home country. And over there, you run 220 volts on the with I think 220 and I don't know how many amps over there. And I tell you something, when you get a little zap of that 220, oh boy, you will snap you good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised that, you know, in Europe there, they put 220 in everything. They don't even do 110 like we do.
I think the worst I've ever been hit was when I was about a 12-year-old kid, and there was a lamp I wanted to plug in or unplug under the couch on the floor, but this was a converted screen porch, and it had a slate floor. And of course, slate being rock is pretty conductive. It was summertime. I was sweaty and I did not have a shirt on, so I was laying prone on my belly and chest underneath the couch, reaching out to grab that plug. And I've never been. I mean, that was a huge contact point with my chest, everything from my chin to my belly button on the floor bare, and I will always remember that one. I've never been hit harder than that, but it depends on your conductivity too. It doesn't matter how much voltage it is. Sometimes, as if you're, especially if you're sweaty and you got highly conductive skin, you can feel a little amount of voltage pop you pretty hard. If you get across it, you'd be surprised how much it'll do. Oh, Steve McBride's coming in.
Yeah,
Hey, Steven.
Hey, Steven, we're just talking about up your alley, Steven. About electricity, getting electrocuted, getting shot.
I'm trying to let him in. Don't punch any buttons, Steve. Okay, that should get you in. There you go. Hey, good evening, Steve.
Good evening. Yeah, that's right up my field.
I've only been hit hard 1 time, but I was telling them that I was pulling a 24-volt wire off a contactor, checking out an air conditioner, and it just got done raining, so I was standing in a puddle of water, and when I plugged it back in, I accidentally touched the end of the female connector. That 24 volts hit me, and it made me jump. I shoved my 2 fingers into the contactor, which is a 3-phase 480. And the next thing I know, I was getting a telephone call asking me if I was smoking on the roof of the school.
In more ways than one.
3-phase 480?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Standing in water, and I mean, it burnt the ends of my fingers. And
yeah, that'll burn.
But it gave me amnesia because I don't remember sitting down on the edge of the roof.
You're supposed to
or how you got there.
You go to the hospital and get yourself checked out because you're supposed to do that when you get hit with that high. Anything over 240, you're supposed to go to the hospital and get yourself checked out if you get hit hard with it because it actually do brain damage to you.
Yeah, man.
That explains everything.
It does.
No, you can do serious brain damage and also nerve damage to you. You're supposed to get checked out for that. I got hit with 277. 277 burns.
Mm-hmm. You guys are using that shit out there in Vegas?
What's that?
What is it? It's what, Delta?
Delta, yeah. Delta systems and Delta Ys. That's all over the country.
They're trying to they're trying to work it out at Grand Rapids. That's the worst ass shit. I've been working on this one building. It has like a floating ground or something. Damn motors just turn on because it'll be
secondary. That's because they use a secondary ground. Like people call it a floating ground, but that's the wrong term. People are using a secondary ground.
But is it? All I know is that these old rooftop units, to make them cheap, had a 2-pole contactor on 3-phase. So there's always, one phase that's wired directly in, and somehow the unit gets a ground, and all the motors in there start single phasing. Burns the motors up.
Yeah, definitely, because you're losing a phase, and it's going to heat the motor up.
Yeah, and I mean, we're having all this problem. I told him, I said, you got to go through the building. You got something shorting out and going to ground, somehow. And
no, what you're having, and you're more likely going to have at that point, if you're doing that and you're burning the motors out consistently on the AC units, you want to check the transformer pad that's feeding those panels, that's feeding the building, you're feeding those panels, because you're actually getting an intermittent phase there. And that's what's creating a fluctuation in your voltages, where you're going to have your 3 phases coming in, but when you lose a leg, the other 2 legs are going to compensate for that. And then you're going to get power through your ground line, and that's what's going to burn out your motors. So you actually need to go back to the transformer pad, because you're losing a leg at the transformer pad that's giving you an intermittent power there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I told them, I just do heating and air conditioning. You got to get an electrician out here to figure out what's going on.
I had to do that out here for a private school, and they had that set up, and they kept burning out the AC units on the roof, and there were 3-phase units, and they kept burning them out. And I went out there and tested out, and kept finding out, yeah, you're missing leg B, and I told them how to fix, and I got it to temp up and temp to work. And I said, you're good for the night, but I contacted the power company, got him out there, and it was actually affecting the whole street the way it was actually doing that. But the rest of the street was only using 2 phases to it. Their building needed 3 phases.
Oh, okay.
But because of that, yeah, they lost a phase, and they were burning out units. Well, 3 of them in a week.
Yeah, they were, that's what I mean. We got motors that are only lasting a month or so. And the places that, the motors will be warranted for a year, they're bitching and moaning about how we're losing so many motors.
You're burning them out because first you go to your panel, you check your 3-phase breaker first that's your panel that's feeding that and at your disconnect. You have a fluctuation in voltage that they're not equal, and you see one drastically higher, one lower, which you'll probably see at that point on 3-phase. If you're using that 3-phase, it's 277 480, so you're going to find, or 12208, depending on which one you have. So you have 12208, and that's more than likely what you were running. You're going to have 120, 120, 120 is what you're supposed to find, but you may find one being 160 or 170, and that's what's burning out your motor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I turned it over to the electrician and said, hey, you got to figure this out. I'd call consumers. I said, I have a feeling it's a consumer's problem, because other times that's always what it was. Some transformers, someplace. So
that's why you check your disconnect. You check your disconnect in your incoming lines that are going to the unit. Then you check your breaker, and at that point there, you're going to find that out on the main lugs on the panel. And it's going to take you right back to the transformer pad. Majority of the time, you're going to find that at the transformer pad on the street. And that's something you can submit back to the power company because it's their failure.
Yeah, the other thing is I found out that they had, they got all this lighting in there that's 277.
Right.
And we're having all those problems. And they went in and changed out balances and stuff for these burnout things.
Okay.
And a couple of the units quit having problems. And I'm like,
sure.
Okay, why were the ballasts being shortened out was causing some kind of damn problem with a power problem in the building or something on that end of the building?
Because it's 270s, you're running a 277 lighting.
Yeah.
The imbalance on that, which is the same as because it's a multi-tap ballast, which is 120, 277. So that multi-tap ballast is going to create a higher imbalance on the when it does go bad, it's going to create a higher imbalance on the neutral.
Oh, okay.
And that higher neutral is going to mess up. It's going to feed it back to the panel and start messing other stuff up throughout the building.
Yeah, because I just happened to be there that day and I was having all the problems. I was trying to track everything down, and this guy was replacing the ballasts out and kind of in my way. And I sat there and he replaced it out and stuff. I go back and everything's fine. And I'm like, how the hell can that be?
Oh, it's intermittent. You'll get it. It'll definitely be intermittent. You go there and yeah, everything's working good now, and then leave, and maybe halfway throughout the day, all of a sudden it's messing up again. And that's your issue. A lot of times you got to check your neutral line on that if you're going to have that there. If it's a single phase, 277 single phase, your neutral is going to end up carrying a higher load, a higher imbalance, because it takes out the difference in the power.
Yeah, you know, I like a Y transformer. You don't have them kind of damn problems.
A Y?
A Y transformer instead of that delta.
Right. Well, the delta, that's 127.208 is your delta Y.
Yeah.
127.208 is your delta Y, and that's straight. That comes straight from the that's when they do actually feed it that way, and they'll feed it straight from the transformer, and you'll get it direct into your meter, into your panels. But if you have a delta Y, you're going to have to step it down. You're going to get 277.480. You have to run a step down transformer from there to get your 122.08.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like. They're starting to put in all Y transformers, and we're going to 240, 480. You know.
Right. Well, you know why they call it a delta Y, right?
Well, yeah, one's shaped like a delta, a triangle, and the other is a Y looking.
Right. But there was also a phase too. It was 120 going to 240.
Yeah. 480.
240 going to 480. That's 277 going to 480.
Yeah.
No. Why?
Yeah, I vaguely remember studying delta Y configurations in my all electronic circuit design textbooks. It's been a long time ago, though. I'd have no idea what to do with one now.
Yeah, with all this new electronic shit, I mean, you better have good grounds and nothing going wrong with the grounds or the neutrals and stuff, or you just have all kinds of problems with.
Yeah, because we're working with mostly field effect, not barely even current flow in a lot of places now.
Yeah, so it's just a deal to where it's above my pay grade and it just makes me pull my hair out. So
I don't worry about it pulling out. It's falling out on its own.
I know it. What? Well, that's what someone said about my hair falling out. I said, it ain't falling out. It just now grows in the other direction. Comes out my nose and out my ears and stuff.
Yeah.
Gravity is taking over on my hair.
Oh.
Wally Haskett's getting on your case over there on YouTube, Steve.
What do you say?
I can't transpose everything he's writing.
Oh, you're trying to understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I know. I meant, he said Steve. I don't think he meant Stephen. I think he's just joking with Steve Hines, I think.
Picking on me tonight.
Wally, an electrician. Wally, are you an electrician? Because he seems to know from some of the stuff. I haven't been reading everything he's posted, but he talks like an electrician.
Yeah. I just don't know that much, and you know, they just figure.
I'll tell you, it's easier. A lot of times, I'd rather work on a commercial building and work on that 277, 480 and stuff, and the higher voltage stuff. A lot of times in the 120, 240 stuff. More people got hurt on 100. You know, more people got hurt and killed on 120 volts than they have working on three-phase 277 480 or 122.
Why is that? I'm gonna.
You're not careful.
Trey, and I'm gonna mute your mic while you do that. Okay.
People, the reason why is that people take 120 for granted too much. How many people have always said, "Oh, I've been shocked. It's only 120. It's only 120. I've been shocked. Only 120," and so forth. People are more cautious and more careful when you're working with 277 and 480 because they know it has a higher voltage and higher current ratio, so it's going to burn you and it's going to hurt. Now the voltage does not hurt you. The current is what hurts you.
Right. Yeah.
Potential. Let me take 120 volts at 15 amps, which is your standard average outlet that you have in your house, or 15 or 20 amps. Which a lot of people say, I changed the light switch, I've changed an outlet, I've got shocked, I know 120 and so forth. Let me take that same thing and put 30 amps through it and watch you, ouch, it's going to hurt. I'll put 50 amps through, 40 or 50 amps through it. You'd say you have an oven. Your oven's 240. You got two legs at 120 volts. If I put 40 amps through it and you get hit with one of those legs, it's going to hurt. And that's where people take it for granted, saying it's only 120 volts. But that current is what actually kills you. And if it locks onto you and you're bonded and grounded to it, it's going to continue to go through you until it's shut your brain and shut your heart down.
Well, yeah, and usually if you're on 220, you're only getting by one leg.
Right.
No, it's 120.
Well, most people have always been, that's why electricians always find out. They'll look at the surroundings and one hand goes into the panel or one hand goes there. The other hand's never touching the panel blocks or anything, so they're not grounded. You always keep it either behind you, you keep it on the side of a base wall or something traffic. You're not doing that. Because you grab a hot leg and you grab the ground, where's that current going through?
Through you.
Through the other. It's going to straight through your heart.
Well, that's what I had an old electrician tell me to stand on the same leg as the hand I'm using. But I didn't know if he was really just pulling my leg or whatever. So that way, it won't go across your heart.
Right. You're on the same leg. It's just going to go, and you're just going to continue the circuit right through that section there. It's not going to go through anything. When you ground yourself and you come across, it's going to hit you.
Well, what he was saying is if it come in your right arm, you want it to go out your right leg.
Yeah, keep your left hand in your pocket the whole time you're working on something.
Your left hand.
Your right hand, and you let it go through your left, and you go through your right hand, you let it go through your left hand, it's going to come across your heart.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's saying legs also.
Right. Same deal. Watch your surroundings. Watch where you're standing and watch where you're kneeling down on the ground. That's why we don't even do that. We're always in insulated boots. I'm never really hardly ever kneeling itself down. I'm on my insulated boots, squatting down.
Yeah.
Same thing I tell people, like you were just mentioning about electronic valves and how many people do them live. And they'll cut the wire and the wire will drop down. You don't know how many people actually got hit in the head and got hurt with that.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I know a few stories when I was back east where it hit the guy in the side of the head, shut his brain down, killed him. 120 volts, 15 amps, but it hit the side of your head, hits the temple, and it does brain damage to you, knocks your brain out.
Wow.
I have a set procedure before I look at exactly what I'm doing, and I have a set procedure, start to finish. Okay, I'm going to start here, and this is what I'm going to do, and I follow that same procedure every time. I do not alter it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way.
Well, anybody that's watching tonight's getting a good electrical discussion.
Yeah.
Oh,
we gotta get
I come here for enjoyment. I got to talk about work.
Yeah, we get off topic sometimes. It's okay, though.
You'll never meet somebody who's an electrician who never said they ever got shocked. It will happen.
Yeah.
And it'll creep up on you too. That won't be my last time it happens. It creeps up on you.
Oh, I see. Wally says, "Guys, get back to airplanes. See y'all, please." 11:26. Oh, he said that before I said what I did.
Well, tell Wally to get on here and show us some airplane stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
Time for him to get back on again.
I don't think Wally is up to coming online with us tonight.
We need to prod him.
Airplane stuff. So this past weekend, the Las Vegas Circle Burners had their second annual Las Vegas Stunt Challenge.
How was it?
Did you go there?
We had a fairly decent turnout. Weather was really, we had the field for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday was a practice day. Weather was really nice and set up there. Some got a little hairy towards the late afternoon. Saturday was a gorgeous day. It was really nice. Sunday, winds picked up a bit early, so we had a pretty decent sized turnout. But the way everybody flowed and moved, we got everything in, and it worked out well. We had a good sized turnout, and everything worked out well. And people said they're all coming back next year. We're going to spread the word around to make it even a bigger event.
Oh, good, man, good.
We had guys come out from a lot of guys came out from California and a lot of guys from Arizona.
So, where do you hold the contest at a Mustang Ranch?
No, we held it at the William Bennett Airfield.
It's not the chicken ranch.
Oh, we don't hold it at no chicken ranch.
Well, ranch would have a lot of open spaces, and when you
if we held it at what they call a chicken ranch out here, I don't think anybody would have came to the contest. They would have been staying at the ranch.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and their wives wouldn't be too happy.
No, their wives wouldn't be too happy, but that's probably why they left them all home. No, we had a pretty decent turnout. I appreciate everybody that did come out and had a good time there. We gave food. Food was given away also with your entry. We flew old time stunt, profile stunt, classic stunt. We had all classes of pamphlet stunt. We had beginners. And we had quite a few entries with that. But in the overall, let me brag about myself then.
Brag about yourself.
Yeah, come on. You want to hear it?
Yes, I won first place.
First
place.
place. All right. Now we know why you got on tonight. We haven't seen him in a while.
Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, congratulations, Steve.
So was that with the Thunder Gazer?
What airplane were you flying?
My Thunder Gazer.
Oh, okay. You got that trimmed in pretty good now and stuff, huh?
I got that trim. I got that airplane trimmed very well. That plane's trimmed out really nice. I mean, I had it. I worked on it really hard the day of the contest over when we were at Madeira, and I got it working really well at that time. But then people told me how to make improvements with it, so I did that too, and I started readjusting the CG and made the plane fly better. And then they told me also to work with the vortex generators, which I put those on the airplane. And wow, what a difference they make on the airplane as far as how smooth and when it turns.
Oh, no kidding.
How do they work?
I heard they did. We never put them on Samantha's airplane because we lost them. I still haven't found the damn things. I had them in a little plastic bag, and I don't know where I put them. I put them so I wouldn't forget where I put them.
There's a lot of, I got them from Howard Rush, and he gave me the pattern to it, and I looked at the pattern. There's several different patterns on how you can actually set them on the wing, and you do them equally top and bottom.
Yeah.
But there's also based on the type of airfoil that you have and the type of wing. So I looked at the way he gave me when he looked at my airplane, Howard Rush, and he told me how to set them on there with pattern to use. And I set them on. I put 32 of them on all together.
Did you use this?
Rubber cement. Yep. I always do rubber cement.
I went and bought the rubber cement to put them on, and now I could never find the damn vortex generators.
So what's the logic behind them? How do they work and they make things better?
Well, there's a couple of videos
put them on and it work better.
There's a couple of videos on it that show it. for what they do, but it actually helps distribute the air that's coming over the wing. So you don't want it, you're putting them actually at the high point of the root of the wing. So therefore, when the air travels through it, it's not hitting the wing and breaking up to where the wing becomes unstable in a turn. So now it actually will track better in level flight. And when you snap a corner, it'll come out of the corner a lot smoother because the air is going to travel smoother straight with a straight line going through the generators across the wing, as opposed to rippling, and the wing can actually have a small shake to it, which will make it shift.
Isn't it the opposite? Because what the turbulators do, they turbulate the air.
They turbulate the air.
Turbulence.
So it doesn't stick to the surface of the wing.
I'm sorry?
So it doesn't stick to the surface of the wing.
It doesn't stick to the surface of the wing, correct.
Yeah. Because that's why I always ask everybody why they would polish the wing.
If it sticks to the surface of the wing, it'll make the wing shift, it'll make it move. Now it turbulates the wind and it breaks it away from the wing. Right.
Well, my whole question was, like with these offshore racer boats, they paint them however they do them in the molds, and it makes like a shark skin on them. It's rough, and you don't have the water sticking to the side of the boat. So my idea was, why don't we polish the wings on our airplane, just so the wind will stick more to it?
No, so you can get 20 points for appearance.
You know, that's what I'm saying is that everybody polishes the wings and makes the airplane fly worse.
You polish the airplane, you do that, yeah, it makes it a little easy. It makes it a little easy. I guess a little easier with that as far as that with wax on it, because the air's gonna fly through, but it's not gonna ripple the effect over the wing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like in Speed, found out that some of these guys actually scuff their lines, so they don't drag as much in the air. They're using solids, and they'll scuff them.
It's solid. I know they're using Speed.
Yeah, they scuff the lines, they rough up the lines, so they'll go through the air easier.
I was listening to an aerodynamic engineer, and he said if you see planes that have turbulators on them, usually it's because they did something bad in the design, and it's an improper design, and had to fix it by adding those turbulators on. And there are some planes that actually have those turbulators on because of that.
The generators?
They didn't get into the details what they actually do and how they help, but long story short, they said usually if you have turbulators on, something's wrong with the design of the wing to begin with.
No.
Well, I've heard
you're
that.
talking about the voltage generators. I found that you can actually come right smoother and snap a corner and come through a corner a lot smoother.
Yeah. They'll work on some of the stuff, but I know that
I have no turbulators on my plane. It comes smooth out the corner. It locks and goes.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I could.
We call it. Are we calling
it's not something.
turbulators the same thing?
Change. It's not something that makes a serious, major, drastic change. But more than likely, probably if I flew my airplane without them, and I thought I was flying really nice, and it was making a nice sharp corner, and I was seeing a nice sharp corner, and it was climbing straight and so forth. But I did start to notice saying, yeah, I could be a little bit better, and I kept looking at the videos as I recorded, saying it could be a little bit better, it could be a little better. I put the vortex generators on it. And when I did that, I actually got that sharper corner. I got that little bit more aggression to it, and it actually came through a little bit smoother. It's not something that you're going to see that's major drastic, but you will find that you can hit the corner a lot harder, and you can actually get a sharper, straighter corner.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's something that's not going to make a drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
The plane it flew great without them. Trying them, it made it even better. It's just a small, minor trim adjustment. And you may want to try them, and you'll notice that.
Yeah. You said you fly a Thunder Gazer?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever talk to Thatcher what his setup was on the plane and try to put it on your plane?
To who?
Thatcher.
Oh, that's
Dave Fitzgerald.
Dave Fitzgerald.
He's the one who told me to put him on there.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Fitzgerald judged us at when we were at Madera at Golden State, and he saw the way the plane flew, and he was telling me about how the corner was, and I could actually smoothen out the corner more by putting the vortex generators on. And he mentioned it right away. He said the plane's turning a great corner, and it's really, you got a lot of aggression, and everything's where you want it to be. He says, but the plane shimmies a little bit and it drifts a little. He said you can stop that, and you'll notice that difference. You will actually, you will see that difference immediately by putting him on. He says, talk to Howard Rush and get him from him, and put him on there. Get the pattern and put him on. He says you'll notice it. Now I put him on and found it right away. I was able to actually get a more straighter, aggressive corner.
Okay.
And a smoother and more accurate.
Cool. All right.
Right. I mean, it's not something, it's a small trim adjustment. It's not something that makes a major adjustment. It's a small trim adjustment, but it's something definitely worth trying. If you don't like them, you have them with the rubber cement. They don't hurt the finish. They'll pop right off. You can get them off again. Don't go CAing them on or anything. Rubber cement them on.
Yeah, Chris Rudd did a video where he had little streamers on his wing.
Yes.
And flew it without them, and then flew it, left them in the same place, and put the vortex generators on there. And you could watch to where the streamers would stay up off the wing a little bit. They wouldn't suck right down flat to the wing.
Now, if you look, you're right. That's the video I watched as well. And if you look at that, look at the top, look at the covering on the top of the wing. How you see on the way of the cameras, you can see the different ripple on the wing.
Yeah, and it had to do with
stalling the wing.
Huh?
Isn't it stalling the wing? I mean, usually when the wing stalls, you have this separation between the laminar flow that's on the side of the wing and the surface of the wing, and then the wing becomes more inefficient. It stalls a little bit. So why would you stall the wing? I mean, just that's. I mean, you have too much lift, or maybe it's too thick. Then.
Oh yeah, because you're changing. You'll see it when you change the attitude of the wing, which then gives you. You know, it's not flying straight and level. You're changing it so one side has more pressure than the other, and it makes it's.
Do you stall it momentarily? Maybe fractional. Anything that's gonna be affected that? No, you maybe stalling it fractional. That's why you're getting that more cleaner corner.
Yeah.
So you are doing that. Now, they do tell you your best place you're going to put them is to the root of the wing. Now, if you watch the YouTube videos, you'll see some people that actually put it behind the root of the wing, and
so
you will not get the effect.
The root of the wing and leave the lift on the wingtips?
People have put them, I've seen other guys who, I watched the video, and the guy put them all the way up to the leading edge of the wing. Now, that will stall it. That'll stall it level, and that will stall it that you don't want to go that close up to your leading edge. Now, that will create a drastic stall that's going to be ineffective for you.
Well, usually, it's like I was telling everybody when I was in Aurora there, playing with Chris Rudd, there's a, I can't think of the name of that jet.
Well, that video you're talking about is Chris Rudd when he put it on his old Strager.
Right. But there's a Lear jet out there at the old Lear jet, and you see all these turbulators out towards the tip. The only thing I could think of is that on landings it may have helped on tip stall. But I don't know why there was no vortex generators inboard in the wing. They're all in the tips, out towards the tips and different.
Yeah, but you're gonna take the lift away from the tips so you can stall towards the center.
Yeah. So I seen them on that airplane.
That's why gliders have such thin wing tips. They get thinner and thinner towards the tip, and they don't tip stall.
You don't go all the way. There's if you look at it online, there's dimensions, and it tells you how far you should come in from the wingtip and also from the center of the fuse end to that point. So you're more in the center of the wing itself, in the center base of the wing. You're not going to go all the way to the edge of your wingtip to it. No.
Did anybody answer Rusty about difference between vortex generators and turbulators? Because I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I was
I think they're about the same thing.
Same thing as what he's talking about. He's talking about turbulators, but it's the same type of thing.
Same thing.
Okay. I was just making sure that we weren't talking about two different actions on the airflow.
He just has a
earlier this evening, you guys were talking about a small wing mounted somewhere up near and above the canopy to make the airflow laminar as it went down towards the tail. And so I was, at first, when y'all started talking about turbulators, I was thinking, okay, that's making it, you could actually call it a laminator. You could, I was thinking that was causing a laminar airflow, but it's not. It's causing little tornadoes in between them.
Yeah, it's actually the turbulators do turbulate the air. That's why they're called turbulators.
Right.
Yeah.
They're called turbulators and turbulate. Yeah, because you're changing the airflow going over the top of the wing as it passes the root of the wing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, if you watch that video, when I put the video I put with the practice, and you watch the way this plane turns and tracks after that, I have no issues with it.
Depends on, I guess, it depends on the aircraft. It depends on the pilot on how you feel to that point. With my airplane, it was a trim adjustment that helped it. Okay.
All I know is usually if you think something helps you, it does. A lot of it is all.
Oh yeah, that's
I was finding
to understand it. I mean, because it has to be a logical conclusion to which you come. Like, well, this is why they work, and the logic behind it, right? Not just you put it on and it works better. Sometimes it can be psychological.
I mean, this is an airplane. It's a new airplane, and it's one I'm still working with and trimming. And there's little things I'm going to still tinker with on it and make other trim adjustments with it. But let's put it together as far as the square was. Before I had him on there, and I came across with the square, and I snapped the corner to want to come straight up. Yeah, I thought it was straight up. When I kept looking at the video, I actually was getting a slight degree left where it wasn't totally 90. It was actually off to the left a little bit. It wasn't giving me a full good straight square. So I didn't like that too much, and it was the same way it would travel all the way down. I saw a little bit of a shake and a little bit of movement. Sometimes it would be accurate on the corner, and other times it would get a little bit of a drift. Same thing with the triangle. If I wanted to come up with the triangle and I wanted to make that sharp corner for the triangle, I had to work harder to get that angle. Other times it would go almost straight up to that point. I didn't get enough of an angle to that point. I put these generators on it, and now I can come across, hit the corner, and I'll get it to lock straight in. And it helped it a lot that I get a nice straight lock in. And the same thing with the triangle. I have no worries about getting that section over to cut that angle for the triangle.
I know.
And
all I know is that everybody who puts them on swears by them.
They do help. They do help. They do work with it. And I found that they stop the wing from getting hit the way when you change the direction and actually shifting it to where the wing would move. And all of a sudden, the direction of the airplane would either not be fully straight, and it would help you with not passing your intersection then. Because
what you're saying is that they work better on thick wings. The thicker the wing, the better them work, and I don't know why that would be.
That's because probably have too much lift on the wing to begin with. Take some lift away from the wing to make it do what it's supposed to do.
Well, how big is the root? How big is the root of your wing?
2 inches and 1/8.
2 1/8.
Yeah.
As opposed to 2 1/4.
Yours is 2 1/4.
No way.
No, I was asking Steve. Is that what the Thunder Gazer is? It's 2 1/4.
It's about more than that. Thunder Gazer has big fat airfoil.
They're not. They're 2 1/4, 2 1/2. They ain't no more than 2 1/2. I gotta look at it again. If it's anything, it's 2.25, less than 2.5.
I can check the plan.
You have the plans?
Yeah.
You got the plans on it. What's the route on that wing?
Let me look at it here. Just give me a second.
I know the SV11.
The Strega, now the Strega, you're talking about thick wing. The Strega type wing, a PM wing is a 3-inch airfoil.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people were really putting them on Stregas.
And so, but yeah, because that's a 3-inch airfoil. But this is the Thunder Gazer is not a 3-inch airfoil.
You know, Bob was always saying they put a thicker wing to slow the airplane down on the down line of, you know, your maneuvers. So maybe the turbulators then are to make it turn better. And then the thickness is, you know, to make it slow down.
Yeah. What I said about asking Ted Thatcher about his setup, you know, sometimes you can just copy his setup. If he tells you like put the CG here, the lead out position, this much tip weight, this much motor offset.
Yes and no.
And if you copy, it should be pretty close to out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do certain things as far as setting up that way. As far as vortex generators, what I was told and the way I did find that out and experimenting with them, it's different. The heavier the airplane is, the more vortex generators they require to put on. You want to actually put more on a heavier airplane than you do on a lighter airplane. As Dave Fitzgerald's Thunder Gazer is lighter than mine is, he has less of them on there. Now, I've seen other people who had them that were a little heavier and they had more on it. And I also added more on. And I got better results adding more onto it.
Okay.
Probably that's why I don't have any issues. Probably that's why I have no issues about that, because I have a thinner airfoil. It's a cleaner plane, and it's much lighter plane.
Yeah, very light. Yeah.
You said it's 53 ounces, right?
Right now I build them at 53.
Yeah, when I measured the thickness, I'm guessing the high point, I'm getting 2.31 inches.
That sounds right.
Yeah, a little over 3 1/4. I mean 2 1/4 then.
Yeah, just a little over 2 1/4, right? That's why I had came up with 2 1/4. It's just fractionally over 2 1/4. It's a 2 1/4 airfoil.
Yeah, so that's a little. That's, you know, that's one of oh shit. I can't think of his name. Thunder Gazer comes from the Thunderbolt wing.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's the Geo. Isn't the Geo ring? I thought it was the Geo.
Well, it was a Stargazer at first, and a Thunder Gazer.
Right. It was a Stargazer. Then when he used Billy's wing out of the Thunderbolt, that P-47 Thunderbolt, it became the Thunder Gazer.
Well, according to the truth of it, the way that wing came about was it was a wing that Bob Hunt had designed and he had built. And he built it for someone else who then didn't want it or something happened. I don't know, and the transaction to that. But it was a wing that he built for somebody and so forth, and they didn't come around or didn't pick the wing up. And Dave said he liked the wing and he wanted it, and made and designed the Thunder Gazer with that wing.
Yeah, it was one of Billy's wings. There's the Geo bolt, the Thunderbolt. Samantha's is the oh shit. One of his earlier designed airplanes. I can't think of the name of that airplane.
Junar? I mean, Billy has the Aries.
Yeah, he has the Junar wing, and then he has there's another one that started.
Geo XL?
Huh?
The Geo?
No, there's Junar and June something. There's two different ones. He has a bunch of different.
I recommend you put them on the wing. There's no need also. For some people experiment and try putting them on the stab, but there's no effect of them putting them on the stab.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Billy's wings, he's got all them different names for different airplanes. The USA wing,
Right, the USA one.
Yeah, the USA one. That's the USA
that's an
wing.
I-beam wing.
Huh?
USA one. That's an I-beam wing.
Yeah, but it's still the shape of it, though. What he did for how thick it is. Samantha's airplane has a shorter wingspan and a longer root than some of the other ones, but it goes really good through wind.
Yes, from what I noticed, like planes with shorter wingspan and longer chord, they handle the wind better than the high aspect ones.
Yeah, gusty winds because they don't get the tip movement on them.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
yeah.
But
in general, an elliptical wing will handle the wind very well because the distribution on the wing, like I said.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people, still fly like Spitfire wings.
Yes, yeah. That was my start on it was my logical conclusion because I was looking what planes flew very well on the wind. And I talked to the Shark, the Spitfires, and some kind of elliptical wing plane. I mean, they all fly well in the wind. They all have this in common. And the one thing they had in common is this lift distribution on a wing. Even though you keep the same airfoil all the way to the tip, simply because of the shape of the wing gives you that more of that elliptical lift distribution. So, and all those planes fly well in the wind.
And I thought it was because it just kept coming down to nothing,
Yeah.
The tip came down to
because of the elliptical shape, you keep the same airfoil, but you scale it down to the specific station in which it is, and obviously it's going to get smaller and smaller. If you look from the top view, it's elliptical. If you look from the front view, it's also elliptical, coming to a point.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Actually, what they do in the gliders, they not only do this, but if you look from the front, the root is like this, and the tip dips in, has a negative incidence.
Oh,
For
okay.
example, in my Revolution wing, I have half a degree zero, negative half a degree, or almost three-way, 2/3 of out on the wing, and the wingtip it's 1.1 degrees down. So the wind, the actually wing twists as you get towards the wingtip. And they do that to keep more surface area on the wing around the tip area, but you still, because of the twist, you reduce that amount of lift you produces around the wingtip.
Oh, okay.
So you can either do it with a twist, you can do it with shape, or both, or all kind of different ways. If you have a straight taper wing, you want to have less percentage on the tip as well. So,
yeah, you really couldn't do a twist on a stunner because then it would fly different inverted, right?
Sure. Yeah. But what you want to do on a stunner is that, say you start with the 20% on the root thickness.
Yeah.
The tip shouldn't be 22% or 23%. The tip should be 16 or so. Much less, okay? But most of the stunners, because they are built for for IC, and you need the drag, what they did, they kept the tip almost the same thickness as the root, so you ended up with a 22% around 18 to 20% on the root, and on the tip you are 22 plus, right?
Yeah.
So now if you look at if this is your wing and this is your lift, it kind of flats, and it's a huge amount of lift on the wingtips, right? So as the plane comes and flies into the wind, as soon as one of these extremities, right wing or left wing, sees a little bit of gust of a wind or a little bump or something like that, immediately wants to go whoosh, boom. We just.
That's when you have that's when you're making a thick wingtip, not if you're tapering it down.
I'm sorry?
That's when you're making a thick wingtip and you're making an equal wingtip, not if you're tapering it down.
You have to taper it down both ways. You have to taper it and have the less percentage on the tip as well.
Sure.
To taper. the taper will help some, but even in real aviation, you'll never see a plane that has, unless it's some kind of experimental plane that NASA is testing on or something like that. Most of the, even in real aviation, you're going to see the wings are about 12% or so, 12 to 13% on the root, and you're going to see them on the tip to be 10, somewhere over there, 2-3 percentage points lesser on the tip, on top of the taper, in addition to the taper. And even those wings are not very well, you know, from that point of view. And guys, I gotta wake up early tomorrow morning, so I'm saying good night.
All right.
Yeah, you probably have to leave. Probably have to leave earlier because it takes a little longer to paddle in than it does drive.
Yes, yeah.
I'm getting a little sleepy myself, so I think we'll go ahead and close up shop for tonight. But
just to remind you all again, you see, I won first place, and that means Vortex generators do work.
There you go.
Congratulations, man.
that proves it.
Good flying. Whatever it takes.
Good enough to win. Am I done with it yet? No. But next thing I have a question with, I want to work with is Steve. We were talking about when I was working with my motor when I first started practicing with it. And I was running a 3-blade prop that I got from Ray, which was a 13 1/4, 4.5 that he had. But I wasn't getting enough of a drive and enough of a push with it. And then we talked about changing the 2-blade and going to a higher pitch.
Yeah.
I'm getting it to work well now with a 13-inch 5. That's what a 13.5 2-blade. But I'm thinking about going back to a 3-blade, but I got to change it. What size do I'm thinking, what size do I got to go down to with that? It likes the 5 pitch. So I'm thinking I should be around, what, 12.5, 12 3/4, and 5, 5.5?
They say 1 inch to 1 inch. If you drop 1 inch in, you know, in diameter, then to get the same speed, you got to increase 1 inch in the oh no, that's with a 2-blade. It should be just dropping 1 inch. Adding the extra blade will take it up. So like a 12-inch 5 pitch or a 13-inch 2-blade, same 5 pitch.
I'm using a 13.5 2-blade right now, but I want to go and experiment again back with a 3-blade. But when I used the 13 1/4, 4.5, it didn't have the authority I wanted it to have with it. And then he told me
What motor are you using in that?
Hey, guys, hang on just a second. I'm going to let y'all carry on the conversation, but thank y'all for coming on. And as for the YouTube guys, I apologize for letting the conversation go on. There was a lot over there, and I did not combine it, even though it was relevant stuff. I just wasn't able to tonight, but I apologize for letting y'all talk without me putting you into the main show. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming. Y'all carry on, and I'm going to cut the feed. So we'll see y'all on Friday night. Everybody have a good week. Okay.
Take it easy.
Yeah,
Bye.
What motor